friends, it's Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. So, confession time. It is actually Thursday when I am filming this video. This is the day this video is supposed to go live. I typically try to film my videos on Tuesday, give myself a little bit of time to edit, and then upload on Thursday. That's been my schedule for the past couple of weeks. But when Tuesday rolled around this week and it was time to sit down and film, I avoided it because we did not do so well. We did a lot of overspending this week. I don't know exactly how much because I haven't sat down and crunched the numbers, but I know that we're over budget. So I kind of avoided it. It's kind of embarrassing. We're only a couple of weeks back into this and already messing the whole situation up. But I'm gonna face the music today. I'm gonna see how bad it really is. We're gonna track all of my expenses for the week, get some totals, figure out what I need to do to balance this budget, and then we will turn the page and have a fresh start for the new week. So if I look at my calendar here, the dates that we are tracking for, my budget always starts on a Tuesday since that's when my husband and I are paid, are September 9th through the 15th. So it's just 7 days in time. I keep trying to tell myself, like, it's only 7 days. How badly could I have messed up in 7 days? But I think it's pretty bad, you guys. So let's just get started. On the 9th, the day that we got paid, the first thing I did was pull out cash for my husband. So I'm gonna mark that as cash and categorize it as Eric's spending. I pulled out his full $100. Now, he very well could have some of this money left, but I am counting it as spent out of our budget. That way I don't have to like nag him and track him down and see what he spent and all of that. I do this every week. It works out really well for us. My husband kind of takes a handoff approach to the budget. He is perfectly content with me kind of controlling where our money goes so long as he gets his spending money every week. So that's what I've done there. And then also on the 9th, Austin asked me to get him some more protein powder. So I placed an order with Rise, which is his favorite protein company. And I took this out of our grocery budget. And this has kind of been the downfall with trying to keep track of things and budgeting in general. I do my typical grocery shopping and I keep that in budget most of the time, right? But then these little things outside of that really add up and give us a little bit of a crunch. You know what I mean? So these things are things that I need to try to keep in mind moving forward. On the 10th, we went to Burger King as a family. So this came out of our eating out budget. And we spent a lot. We spent $48.20. We actually spent more than that, but some of the food we ordered ended up wrong and they gave us a bit of a refund. So $48.20 is what came out of the budget. On the 10th as well, we had a soccer game. My son played in a soccer game and so I needed to get tickets. And actually my husband and our oldest son met me there, but they came after halftime, so they didn't need to buy tickets, so it was just one ticket. I've been taking our soccer related things out of our miscellaneous budget, and so just one ticket for me was $7. We didn't do any kind of concessions or anything that day since we did Burger King, so that was it in terms of soccer related expenses for this day. On the 11th, we did our grocery shopping. And I sent Robbie to Walmart and gave him a list. I really appreciated him going because it meant that I didn't have to tip a delivery driver. I didn't have to take time out to go myself, but he did take it upon himself to add a few extra things to the list while he was there. And so he spent a little bit more than I was expecting, but all in all, I mean, that was okay. It was fine. He definitely saved me time. So this came out of grocery, and the amount that was spent was $186.97. Okay, so that was the 11th, and that was everything on the 11th. On the 12th, Eric and I ran to Wendy's for lunch or dinner. I don't even really remember, to be honest. So that came out of our eating out category. And we spent $29.01. Okay. Also on the 12th, I remember now, so we were on our way up to the camper. So we stopped at Wendy's on the way up, and then we went to the grocery store to get our food for our camping trip. So we went to Meijer, and that also came out of grocery. I'm sure you guys can tell by now the categories that we went over budget in. $63.09 for that. Then on the 9th, I made the 9th. No, it's the 9th month. On the 14th, apparently we had a no spend day on the 13th. I ordered from Frownies, you know, those wrinkle patches that you can buy. I've been getting inundated with ads with them, and I finally couldn't hold off anymore and decided I had to try them. So I did place this order. This came out of my spending money, and it was $27.66. Okay. Also on the 14th, okay, yes, I remember. So the 13th was a Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. And that day we spent at a soccer tournament all day. There were no costs associated with that tournament. I thought we were gonna have to buy tickets. There was no tickets to be purchased. It was all just free admission. And we brought sandwiches and stuff with us, so there was no food involved in that. That's why there was the no spend day on the 13th. We were busy at soccer all day. Okay, so we did the Frownies on the 14th. I'm looking over at a little list here of stuff that I jotted down to help me keep track, and it's all out of order, so I apologize for the ums and stutters while I try to figure things out. In addition to the Frownies, I also placed an Amazon order for some rose water spray to help me with adhering those. I thought that it would be way cheaper than buying the Frownies branded rose water spray, and it's all the same thing anyway, right? So that was $10.48. Okay, and then on the 14th, my husband decided to surprise us all and go to the grocery store and buy some really nice steaks for dinner. It was a really sweet gesture, but we were already over budget with our groceries, and this certainly didn't help. So he went to, well, what he did was he said he was going to run to Walmart for just a couple of things. And I said, fine, we could handle a couple of things. But while he was there, he saw the steaks and he bought the steaks too, which definitely blew our budget. Again, he's very hands-off on the budget, so he had no idea what we had left in the budget, and that was our downfall this week for sure. He spent $132.29. So yeah, not the best. And then to make matters worse, on the 15th, I had my subscribe and save order for Element from Amazon come out. I drink an Element packet, which is just like electrolytes, pretty much every single day. They're not inexpensive, but I really enjoy them. They make me feel really good. I didn't realize they were coming out this week, so an already strained grocery budget was strained even further by this. It was $53.99. So yeah. And then we had a soccer game on the 15th as well. Again, no admission for that one, which was good. But then we stopped on the way home and got dinner. So we went to Chicken Shack, which I didn't even really like. I didn't think it was that good. And we spent a small fortune on chicken for the whole family. So eating out, total was $62.14. So yeah, we behaved this week as if we were not on a budget at all, unfortunately. So these numbers are gonna add up really, really quick. Let me grab my calculator and we will see what the damage is. All right, so I grabbed my calculator, I grabbed my highlighters. Let's see what we've got going on here. So for Eric, easy peasy, it's just cash, one transaction, $100 there. All right, next we'll do groceries. Let's just go ahead and face the music, because I think this is the category that's gonna be the worst. So we had Rise for $52.49, plus Walmart for $186.97, plus Meyer for $63.09, plus Walmart for $132.29, plus Amazon for $53.99. Ooh. Yeah, that's rough, you guys. That is really, really rough. If you look here, we budgeted $300 and we shot past that big time. $488.83. Yikes. All right, so let's go ahead then and shift to eating out, which is another category we definitely blew. So we've got Burger King for $48.20, Wendy's for $29.01, Chicken Shack for $62.14. So yep, over budget there as well. We budgeted $100, we spent $139.35. All right, miscellaneous, at least we've got some good news here. Just one transaction, thank God, because that's gonna help balance everything out. I budgeted $100 in this category and we spent $7. So definitely gonna help the situation this week. That's the one kind of silver lining. And then for my spending, I had $27.66 and $10.48 for a total of $38.14 in my category. All right, so let's add it all up and see how bad the damage is. So we had 100 for Eric, $488.83 in grocery, $139.35 in eating out, $7 in miscellaneous, $38.14. $773 with 32 cents. So yeah, you guys, we really blew the budget this week. If I take these numbers and go ahead and plug them here into my paycheck budget worksheet, for groceries I budgeted $300, we spent $488.83. For eating out, I budgeted $100, we spent $139.35. Miscellaneous, I budgeted $100. I thought we were gonna need a lot of money this week for soccer tickets and concessions and all of that. We only spent $7, so yay for that. Budgeted $100 for Eric, gave him $100, budgeted $50 for myself, and spent $38.14. Okay, so we know it's $773.32. I'm gonna go ahead and use this opportunity to double check my math here. 16, yep, $773.32. So for our spending for the week, our variable expenses, we budgeted $650. We spent $773.32, which means we were $123.32 over budget. Obviously the main culprit being groceries and eating out. Those are always the categories we struggle the most in. We struggled more than usual here. The one saving grace was definitely that miscellaneous budget that really saved us. But because we started out with $800 for the week and we spent $773.32, that means we've only got $26.68 to send to our city card, which is not ideal because our goal here is to pay this credit card down as quickly as possible. Now last week we sent more than we thought we would. I budgeted $150 last week. We did really well with our variable categories last week and I was able to send more. So for the month in total so far, I've been able to send $266.26 to the city card, but that's still less than I would have liked, right? Like my goal is $150 a week. We're 2 weeks in and already I'm not meeting that goal, even with an average. So definitely need to zip up the grocery budget this week for sure. Now we had those couple of things, the element packets and the protein powder both running out at once. That is a pain point that I'm going to have to adjust for in the future. I have to start spending less on groceries at the beginning of the week. That way when these things come up, I still have money left for them. But even so, like if I had been a little bit over in groceries and I had come in under in eating out, I wouldn't feel so bad. But going over budget in both of those places is just ridiculous. And I don't feel like I am budgeting, you know, small amounts for these categories. So this is definitely a pain point, something that I have to work on. And I have to get my family on board, right? Because, you know, my husband going to the grocery store, picking up steaks when we're on a budget, probably not the best. Robbie picking up a few extra things. They're just a couple extra things, but they add up. So I need to take better control of that situation. And then we'll be able to send more to our credit card. So let's just go ahead and finish these numbers out. Make sure we got a zero-based budget. So we did indeed start with $800 here. We spent $773.32 in variable. We sent $26.68 to city. And if I subtract everything out, that does indeed give us a zero-based budget. So yeah, overall not the best week for sure. But let's go ahead and turn the page and start up my budget for this next week. Let me go ahead and get rid of that. And what is the paycheck date for this budget? We've already started spending this money. Like I said, it's Thursday today. The 16th was my paycheck date. So once again, we're gonna start with $800. That's what I've got to make this paycheck budget happen. And here's how we're gonna split it up. So grocery, I'm really hoping because we spent so much in groceries last week that we're not gonna need to buy as much this week, but it seems like there's always something we need to buy. So I'm not gonna mess with this budget. I'm gonna stick with $300. And something I should mention, I don't think I've mentioned yet in this video, this grocery budget does include household items, things like toilet paper, you know, dish soap, laundry soap. It's not just groceries. So I feel like that makes it a little bit better if I had a separate line item for like household items, we could get a better feel for how much is being spent on food and how much is being spent on household items. But it's just easier for me to keep it all together because we do 99% of our shopping at Walmart. We can buy our household items at the same time as our grocery items. So yeah, that's grocery. For eating out, I'm gonna stick with 100 and really try to like put my foot down and not spend more than that. We shall see. For miscellaneous, let's take a look at the schedule and see what we have in terms of soccer games this week. I have a soccer game tonight and then a soccer game on Monday. So arguably we need 2 or 3 tickets for each of those games. So that's $40-ish. Let's do $50 for miscellaneous this time. As you guys know, if I spend more in one category but less in another and it evens out, I don't get too bent out of shape for that. But $50 for miscellaneous soccer things should be plenty. And this miscellaneous category also covers anything else that I don't think to budget for, but I think 50 should do us just fine. And then for my husband, I will do his usual 100. And for me, I think I'm going to stick with $50. Do I want to do that? Let's just do 100. This 100 can either be for me, it can be for miscellaneous, it can help absorb any overage. Let's stick with 100, let's not rock the boat. So that'll be $650. If I don't spend it, great, we'll send more to City, which is the ideal scenario. So let's put that in here. City, start with 800, 650 in variable expenses. That'll leave us with 150 to send to City if all goes well. We saw this week it doesn't always go well. So we'll do the zero-based budget here. 800 to start, 650 to variable, 150 to extra debt for a total of 0 remaining. We'll see how that goes. All right, friends, that's it. I faced the music. It was bad, but it could have been worse. Sending less to the credit card is not ideal, but you know, you live and learn. Hopefully this next week will be better. I like looking at my budget just 7 days at a time because it's a lot easier to stick to a budget for just 7 days and then get a fresh start. But also, like, if we have a bad week, we recognize it, we see it, and then we turn the page and we get a fresh start. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know how you are liking having my budget videos back. I've really been enjoying sharing them with you. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.